What's good, everybody? From the Ashes We Rise Again, Black Phoenix Podcast, MCTR, kicking it with y'all one more time. Don't forget to follow us, subscribe, like, check us out on the social medias and all that good stuff. Hey, TR, what's good?
Hey, I'm good, everybody. Good to be on here. It's been a crazy and terrible week as well too, and I'm glad that we can get on here and just have some dialogue.
Yeah, no doubt. And just real quick, neither one of us are deep boxing experts, but we got to give a shout out to Bud Crawford for going in there and handling business. TR, he did his thing for real.
Yeah, that was a really good fight, and I'm glad Bud could come out there victorious. Was that make him 42-0? I think.
It to me, it looked like, and again, I'm saying this is not a boxing expert. It looks like he had him figured out, and kind of like the fourth or fifth round. It kind of looked like he was just kind of messing with him for a little bit, and he's like, okay, I'm blocking these punches, I'm dodging most of them.
hmm
I got him figured out. It's time to go to work. I really do think he figured him out pretty early.
Yeah. No, it was. I don't think there was any doubt though, but I think he was the underdog too. So a lot of people
Yeah,
lost some money. Well, if you put money on him, you wanted some money. So
yeah, he was definitely the underdog. I want to say the money line was minus 170 or something like that. He was definitely the underdog.
yeah. So all right. So we got some good episodes to good topics to discuss tonight. A little bit is going to be for discussing Charlie Kirk, and we didn't get a chance to really have the conversation, but MC notified me that I forgot what I was doing, but that Charlie Kirk had been shot, and I didn't even think. I was like, shot? What do you mean he's been shot? And I went on X, and just when I saw everything, so it's a very unfortunate thing that happened. It just clearly tells you where we've come as a country, where someone's having just the dialogue, just having a conversation, whether you agree or not. You should not have to worry about losing your life, and especially in such a public way as well too, in front of your family. That's the things that we're going to be talking about later, but it's just an unfortunate thing. So I pray for his family and friends, and pray for this country too, though, because it's going to be a long battle for us to kind of get back to normal and have civil discourse.
I don't even know if normal is a possibility anymore, TR. Everything is so polarizing right now in this country. If you make any type of stance, you can pretty much guarantee that 50% of the people are going to hate you for making said stance.
Yeah,
What I am hoping for is maturation in thought, right? So the genesis of the whole Charlie Kirk thing was people who didn't want to hear what the other side has to say. And if you hold on to that for too long, it turns into I want to censor the other side, and then it ultimately evolves into I hate the other side. So
yeah,
I've always said if somebody makes a ridiculous point, you're better off either just letting them put their foot in their mouth or disproving them with some type of metric or statistics. But we're not in a space right now where that's happening. Folks are getting their feelings and they're taking action.
yeah. Tragic action too. So, but before we get to Charlie Kirk, we're going to talk about the National Guard going to Memphis, and specifically, we'll be hearing from the mayor have a dialogue regarding the National Guard. Oops. Sorry about that. If I can get this pulled up.
Welcome.
Sorry, MC. I'm working off of a different laptop.
Yeah, technology, man.
There we go. Okay, you see it, MC?
Yep, you good.
All right.
Back to Politics Nation. Yesterday, as the president appeared on Fox and Friends to talk about the 9/11 anniversary and the murder of Charlie Kirk, he also announced the latest target of his federal crackdown on crime. Take a listen.
Maybe I'll be the first to say it right now again. We're going to Memphis. Memphis is
That's the next city.
deeply troubled. And the mayor is happy. He's a Democrat mayor. The mayor is happy. And the governor, Tennessee, the governor is happy. deeply troubled. We're going to fix that just like we did Washington, and we'll straighten that
National
out.
Guard.
National Guard
Okay.
and anybody else we need. And by the way, we'll bring in the military too if we need it.
While Trump claims both Tennessee's Republican governor and the Democratic mayor of Memphis have asked for intervention, the mayor says he's done no such thing. And while he welcomes federal help, that doesn't mean he wants to see troops in his streets. He joins me now, Memphis Mayor Paul Young, a Democrat. Mayor Young, we appreciate you joining us tonight. Had you heard anything from the administration before the president's announcement or since about what operations it intends to conduct in your city?
Yeah, well, the first I heard of it was on Monday when I got a call from the governor's office that this was potentially coming. I did have a call with the White House and asked them to shift the type of support that they bring to the city and align with the strategies that we have been implementing over the past 2 years. We've seen significant decrease in crime in our community. We've seen double-digit reductions in all categories, and we want to build upon the success that we've had. Investment in FBI, DEA, ATF, those traditional law enforcement partners that can take our investigations to the next level. That's the type of support that we had been talking about. The National Guard was something that we just found out about. It's not something that I believe is going to help reduce crime in our city. I think that the way to reduce crime is to invest in the things that are going to intervene and prevent crime in the first place, and help us identify the small number of people that are wreaking the most havoc in our community.
Jeez, these Democrats, they constantly stay on code because instead of, Memphis ranks as one of the top U.S. cities for the murder rate. And so they were the message was initially why does Trump want to send it to blue states? Well, he's going to Memphis, and even though Memphis is blue, the state is red. So, that kind of goes out the window that he's only sending it to like blue states. And for them to just say that they're bringing it down and they've had some success, the murder rate says different. The amount of shootings, the amount of lives lost, that says something completely different than what he's saying, as well as give us money, invest in some of the programs we have. You guys can't be trusted with the money. Giving Democrats some money is like giving giving a crackhead money or something, or giving them drugs, saying, hey, don't use it for drugs. Don't use this money for drugs, and you know what they're going to use it for. This is, you can't give them any money. You can't trust them to do things correctly and make sure they're protecting the citizens, the residents of Memphis. And so that's why they're coming in. And not to mention, he's trying to play both sides though, but he won't be able to because the governor is a conservative.
Yeah, I suspect that's why the Trump administration shifted their focus from Chicago to Memphis, because Chicago is a blue city and a blue state. Whereas, as you just stated here, Memphis is blue city in a red state. Regardless, though, TR, Memphis, first of all, Memphis is a dope place to go, but there are places. Memphis is a FAFO type of city. You deal with the wrong people, you're gonna find yourself in a real bad situation. And I think most people know that.
Yeah.
And most people boots on the ground. Look, we've already there's tons of videos out there. I'm gonna take this back to DC real quick. Because first of all, the mayor of DC recently came out and admitted that she's starting to see the benefits of what Trump was doing in DC. So she kind of deviated from the Dem playbook, because you're never supposed to give compliments to the competition. But
also, she didn't have a choice either.
Well, yeah, that's part of it too. She didn't have a choice because I did you see when Don Lemon was walking the streets and talking to people in DC and Maryland, places like that?
Yeah,
And all
that
these black
guy,
people,
he's an idiot.
and that's basically what they told him. They was like, Don, you don't know what's going on here. You just know what the Dems are telling you. We live here. We
Yeah.
see this every day. This is something that's needed to be done. Which ironically, TR, is kind of weird, because I remember in the early 90s, the Dems were the ones that were a little bit tougher on crime.
They had the crime bill, Joe.
Yeah, I don't know where the shift came. Even Hillary, during her super predator speech, she was tough on crime even back then. So I don't get it, but Memphis is a FAFO type of city, And I pulled some quick statistics, TR, from multiple sites, mainly The Guardian, NBC. There was a huge peak in 2023, which was just, a year and a half ago. It's been spiking up ever since the COVID-19 pandemic. And in 2025, ironically, this is just homicide. We haven't even gotten to the other types of crimes yet.
Mm-hmm.
There is a small decline, but the beginning of the year, there was a quick peak that jumped up, and they're just now starting to get it down and declining again.
Well, summer's over.
And it's funny that when you hear a mayor say that, okay, crime is down, don't you almost always hear somebody from the police union come out and say, no, that's not the case. These numbers are fudged. There's other things going on that's not being reported here. That seems to be a reoccurring theme, TR. So I got to call into effect how much of this is political pride? How much of this is somebody saying that they're failing at their job and they're not admitting it? Like how much of this is factors into all of that? How much is this? I just want to make my party look good and I don't care about the consequences. I'm really stuck on situations like this when it comes to questions like that.
Yeah, I would also say we've known Memphis to be a city where there has been a lot of death and bloodshed just from violence just in certain areas of Memphis. That said, I don't understand why the governor is now just taking action on this, other than Trump asking him, which he's not going to say no, obviously, though, but it is not a good look that one of your major cities is suffering like that, and now you're starting to pay attention. So if they want to bring that up and have that conversation, fine, because I think that's all, I think that's within bounds, and it is a major city in Tennessee. So for the people thinking that, Memphis shouldn't get any smoke, or Memphis has been doing well, we're not having that conversation today. This is more or less to, save lives in that community, and also make it one of those cities where you can go there and take your family and enjoy the scenery without having to worry about, is there going to be any type of violence? Is there certain areas we can't? I mean, it's funny when people talk about sundown towns. Some of these places you can't even wear certain colors. So I don't know why people bring that whole sundown conversation into it, because some of these places you can't even go there, after the sun goes down, or wear certain types of clothing in those neighborhoods.
Right. It reminds me. So the first time I went to Chicago, right, I was wearing an Arizona Sun Devils hat, which has a pitchfork on it.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, I'm not from Chicago. And fortunately, and I was fortunate enough to meet somebody who put me on the game. It was like, you don't want to wear a pitchfork in this town. It means something you don't want to be associated with.
Jeez.
Like, he told me from the jump.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. So what happens is, particularly when you have a tourist, they go to these places, they don't know the culture, they know the customs, practices, whatever. And white folks can kind of get away with it to a certain degree, because they're not perceived to be a part of this gang culture. But people like us, TR, it's not necessarily the same story. And the thing is, if you opt out of that lifestyle, you should be able to fully opt out of that lifestyle without any consequences. So it becomes a problem when you have cities, because Memphis and Nashville are both, like, tourists like to go there. Like, Memphis has this barbecue festival that's really, really dope, and it brings in a lot of travelers and stuff. So at the end of the day, I'm wondering why this guy, who's the mayor, ain't trying to protect the bag, ain't trying to protect an economic impactful event such as this. He seems more focused on political pride.
Yeah, definitely.
Let me start right there, Mr. Mayor, because in several cities where Trump has either deployed federal troops or flirted with the idea, crime has been trending downward, in some cases substantially. And though you still have one of the highest murder rates in the country, which you've acknowledged as mayor, the Memphis Police Department also just reported that crime in the city is at a 25-year low.
This dude just said they both acknowledged that you have one of the higher murder rates in the city. That's why I don't get these people. That means people are constantly dying. These are probably mainly kids that are dying in the murder rate. Teenagers, whether the one pulling the trigger or the bullet found them, they're the ones that are losing their lives the most. And then we can spin off into the other crime, like assaults and carjackings and stuff like that, though. But these guys acknowledge that there is a issue with the crime in Memphis, and they're trying to like, or crime is coming down, and they're really talking about from pandemic highs. And so they're talking about crime is coming down from pandemic highs, and then crime, crime is still high though. So it's not, you're just going back to where you were before the pandemic, which is still a terrible number. And the people are still losing their lives. The funeral homes, they're staying in business. The prisons, they're staying in business as well too. So they acknowledge that there's a problem here. They just don't want Trump to come in there and clean up the city in a quicker fashion, because who knows how long this would have taken for them to even do anything. He probably would have still, I mean, I believe some of these mayors, some of these Democrat cities, they're incentivized to have their cities go to shit.
Yeah. This is equivalent to saying I took my grade from an F to a D plus. It's like almost a C,
Still bad.
but not quite there yet. You're still not really passing the course. And I think what we should do, I think I'm gonna do this on our social media accounts this week. There are compilation videos of people in Memphis saying, yeah, it's still pretty bad here. We need some help. We need some intervention and some resources here.
Yeah.
The Dems keep making this argument that in all of these cities that Trump is focusing on, well, crime is already declining, so we don't need you. I would like to hear more. I want to hear them expand more on what are they doing to drive that.
Yeah. What did you
Because
do? Yeah.
yeah, because at least when I hear Republicans talk about how they want to approach crime, one of the first things they say is we got to restore the family unit. Because studies show that if the father and the mother are in the same house, that's a significantly greater chance that you're going to raise a family that's less likely to be involved in activities such as these. I don't know what the Dems think they're doing, because right now, like, perception is reality, right? They are perceived as the party that's soft on crime. They're perceived as the party that
Yeah.
released people multiple times that probably shouldn't be released, and reduced sentences and things like that. And they're the party that likes to say that the system is racist.
Hmm.
And I want to hear them say, okay, so you got all these complaints and you're saying that you're declining crime in all of these cities. How are you doing it? I would love to hear that explanation, because I haven't really heard one yet.
Yeah. I can tell you what they're doing nothing. Doing the same thing Brandon Johnson was doing, Karen Bass. I'm surprised they haven't gone to Atlanta yet. That should probably be next on the docket for them. Well, Atlanta has, I mean, they do have gang violence, but they have an SCD problem down there too. So maybe you don't need the National Guard down there. But it's just weird that the people are so against that. And when you hear residents, when you start talking to people, just like you said with Don Lemon, they're saying there's some problems here. And Don Lemon, what he's trying to do, he's such a fucking ghoul too. There's a whole nother conversation there. But Don Lemon is essentially trying to like goad people into a certain direction. And he's supposed to be a journalist. You don't direct people, you don't lead people into an answer. You don't try to get certain types of reaction out of people. You just ask the question and they respond, and then you ask follow-up questions. You're the journalist. You don't try to be like some of these YouTubers out here who are trying to do this stuff for fun and make people look stupid. Like, that's not your job. You said you pride yourself on being a journalist. Start asking journalistic questions and make sure you're asking it on both sides, not just because you want to hear a black person say out loud if they rock with Trump or not, or if a black person thinks crime is down or not. I don't see you going to these white neighborhoods doing stuff like that. He's only going to like black neighborhoods, and he's not going like deep into the black neighborhoods either. He's just going to certain black neighborhoods in the daylight.
And truthfully, TR, one thing I've realized about crime is the police can only do so much, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you have to police yourselves, because the police can't be everywhere every time, and they can't always be there. So I'm of the philosophy that you need to have a booming economy, for number one. For number two, you got to restore the family. And for number three, you need to teach people how to properly conceal, carry, clean, maintain, and shoot firearms. And you need to pass fair legislation that lets people defend themselves if them or their families are in danger. Those all seem to be Republican-leaning principles. I'm still not quite sure what the Dem strategy is to reduce crime outside of saying everything is racist.
Well, one of the strategies is the no cash bail, and that's been a disaster. That needs to be rescinded. So But all right, yeah. Unfortunately, Memphis. I hope things work out for y'all because too many deaths, too many kids losing their lives.
I do too, because Memphis is a beautiful city. It really is. So I hope everybody stays safe, and I hope that at the end of the day, your government does what's best for you, for the people of Memphis.
Yeah. So all right. We're gonna go to the next topic. This is dealing with just this is gonna be DL Hughley. And I'm really there was a question someone was asking on the panel about someone that you liked or someone maybe you respected their opinions and now you do not like them. And DL Hughley has been one of those people. D.O. Hughley has, I don't know what he did, but once he, bent the knee to Kamala Harris, he's been like kind of a different person. Maybe he was like that before Kamala Harris. I just never noticed it until Kamala Harris showed up. And D.O. Hughley has just been terrible at this politics conversation. He's pretty much, I mean, it's one thing if he's trying to educate and help, but he's doing the opposite. He's just stoking, he's just creating more anger towards a problem that's not an issue for everybody. It's definitely not an issue for him. He doesn't run into stuff like this anymore, dealing with Trump or dealing with like certain cities. I wish he would just go back to, doing jokes and everything, but he thinks he has a lane in this, and he's just been so disappointing just to hear his conversation on Charlie Kirk too.
I don't recall DL being like this back in the day. I mean, I was heavy into the comedy space, like following people, listening to podcasts. He had a show, and he revealed some very personal things about himself and his family. It was a pretty good show, but I always remember him being kind of a moderate TR. Something changed right around the time Obama exited, and
Yeah.
people following him kind of stepped into the picture. But I digress.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. So we're just gonna just hear his position on Charlie Kirk.
So Charlie Kirk was shot yesterday at a school in Utah by obviously a white assailant, because there are three words that let me know instantly. I can tell you who it is because I can tell you who it ain't. And there are three words that let me instantly know it wasn't a black guy, because the three words are Utah and at large. So how is it that Charlie Kirk wasn't shot in a black city, in a black district, at an HBCU? Why is it that HBCUs are under attack? And I heard a comedian, I saw a comedian who I love and respect say, well, people stalking stuff on.
I'm gonna stop him real quick, and I know we briefly talked about this though, but no HBCU. I heard it was just threats, hoax threats, but no HBCU had any type of violence done to them. As well as we don't know who made those threats. I mean, once upon a time, we heard someone say, hey, I was attacked by these two white guys and dragged, and it turned out to be a hoax, Juicy Smollett. Like, yeah, I'm not saying that someone, who maybe somebody did call in who was not black though, but we've seen stuff like this. And for it to take fire for the HBCU, because it wasn't just D.L. Hughley. I saw a whole bunch of other people just peddling this around, like, what this got to do with us? And, it's funny for when black people say, what this got to do with us? But yet, half of the videos that I've seen about, people, celebrating the shooting of Charlie Kirk have been white liberals and then a lot of black people. So you're saying what's it got to do with y'all, but yet y'all are still held doing these TikTok challenges and getting fired.
So my timeline, I have a lot of people on my timeline, right? Most of the melanated folks, black folks, didn't even know who Charlie Kirk was till everybody else started talking about him.
Right.
So that tells me, and you kind of hit the nail on the head with this. This is another example. Hold on, let me hear what Brando would he say? Yeah, the obsession that black people have with their race. Yeah. It's
racial idolatry.
It's to our own detriment, and I'm gonna play a quick video later to kind of expand on that.
Yeah.
But HBCUs being threatened, unfortunately, is nothing new. It happens all the time, TR. And most
That's
of the
true
time,
too. Yeah.
and most of the time they are baseless threats. But at the end of the day, if we have this community that we claim that we have, then we got to do a better job of protecting it. Because I just said earlier, the police can't be everywhere all the time and available at every single moment. So if they can't do it, we got to do it.
Yeah.
Up the security, man. Let's get some more resources to these places. I do think DL's asking a fair question, but I also think he's falling into a false narrative because HBCUs get threats all the time. A lot of people made assumptions about the shooter, which we'll talk. Well, I'm not gonna say shooter because we're on YouTube. The person responsible, but a lot of people made assumptions and they just ran with a lot of different narratives before the facts even came in. That's how I see it right now. I think it's a fair question to ask, what do HBCUs have to do with this? Because the answer is nothing, which is all the more reason why you shouldn't be emotionally invested in any of this stuff. But a lot of people chose to do that anyway.
Right. They chose to because they wanted to make content off of it. They wanted to most of those people didn't even go to HBCUs. And we don't know. I don't know if you remember this, but this was a little bit after the election. There was a text message that was sent out to like a bunch of it was sent to mainly Black people. And then people started to like get up in arms, like, oh my God, they're talking about going back to slavery, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if you remember that, MC. But it was right after the election. And then people were like, see, this is what we were talking about. Like, first of all, so you're telling me that the conservatives or Republicans, they got access to a database of only Black people, and they sent out this hoaxes text message to everyone to tell them that slavery is coming back. So who would do that? Why would they do that? And why would they have access to that type of information? You know, who does have access to that information, who needs to manufacture racism is the Democrats. They tend to do stuff like this. And we have a number of cases where people said there was a case where a guy said he was his boss was being racist towards him. So this is a Black guy saying this white guy was being racist towards him. And what ended up happening, they found out that he used AI to doctor this guy's voice, which is pretty scary with AI. Doctored this guy's voice and to claim that he was being racist towards this employee. That guy got arrested. So, you know, if he didn't, I don't know how they figured it out, but the guy was arrested. And hopefully the person that he was claiming that was being racist, he didn't lose his job, and they had a chance to kind of look through things though. But yeah, we're living in a weird time where people will say, you know, someone called in a hoax and they're worried about it. They're thinking that this is white people doing it. I was like, you don't know who did it. That could have been anybody. We have swatting problems, and they can never figure out who did it.
Look, they know, and by them I mean liberals. They know that we are the emotional group of people.
Oh yeah,
They know that we operate on fear and the unknown, right?
Yeah, Brando remembers it.
Yeah, they play into that, and they know that we'll react based on that. But I think there's a small awakening happening, particularly with the Black men, and they don't really care about that much stuff as that like they used to. But it's still very effective, TR.
Right.
Like Project 2025 was the big thing. And one of the things they said about that was they were going to bring slavery back, and they were going to completely remove Black history from the classrooms. There's been some changes to the curriculums, but as far as I know, it hasn't been completely removed anywhere. Hell, my daughter's school in Arizona learns about Malcolm X. So I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, true. Facts.
On Facebook or social media. Social media, there are 41.3 million Black people in this country. All of them were talking like that. And there are only roughly 285,000 people that attend HBCUs, and only 73% of them are Black. So is it that you know exactly who it was, or is it that any Black person will do? The truth of the matter is that in this country, no matter what happens, no matter who does it, America will find a way to point the finger at Black people who are thousands of miles away. I don't know if there. I'm pretty sure there's not an HBCU in all of Utah.
Anybody who talks like this to young Black children, I'm telling y'all right now, they're speaking death into your children.
Yeah,
they're telling your children, no matter what you do, you're always going to be worthless. You're always going to be wrong, and you're always going to be who everybody points the finger at for their problems. So you are killing your kids' confidence before they can even fully develop it when you talk to them with points like this.
Conditioning them to be a victim.
Can't do it no more, man. Nobody has time for this victims. That brings me to the video I just dropped in the private chat, TR. After you get done playing this, we're going to play it real quick. It's real quick.
Yeah.
But now, because a white guy kills another white guy thousands of miles away.
See, and this is the other thing too, and we'll get into this later, but it wasn't just a white guy killing a white guy. Like there's more to this, that you have to listen to the way that they deliver this message, because they want to like trivialize it to like it was just a white guy deleting another white guy. No, it's never been like that. The majority of the time, the way politics is nowadays, you got the progressives, you got the liberals, you got extremists, and I get it, they're on both sides though, but lately we have been seeing this come from on the left side for the majority of the stuff. And if you're looking for something on the right, you got to go a few years back when shit was really wilding out. Nowadays, that stuff is not happening on the right side. That is coming from the left. And the majority of the time, it's the white people that they claim that are on their side. So do you want to be in bed with these people? Because that's what I don't understand with black people, is that if these people are on your side and they're just, deleting people and rioting and funny thing is I don't see them getting arrested too. So that's a whole nother conversation. But they're doing all these things and you're saying that, hey, these are just white people doing stuff. No. They're in your voting block. These are the people that you claim that did the things to Charlie Kirk. They're on your side. All the rainbow and all that stuff, they're on your side doing all this types of stuff. So when he tries to do this stuff and other people do this, they're having a very disingenuous conversation.
And then before, and I'll say it again, man, you got to start looking at people by how they act and what they do and not what they say. And when you take on that mentality, you'll very quickly find out that there are scumbags in every segment of people that you can think of. Like, these and this is my issue with the pro-black stuff, because they'll sit back and they will tell you that everything is all good over here, but they don't talk about how we mistreat each other internally, because quote unquote that shouldn't be public business. And it's like, dog, just surround me with good people, man. Surround me with people that are logical and don't jump to conclusions when they hear a statement being made without hearing out the full statement. I cannot tell you how many people were ready to crash out over this guy that they never even heard of until he was killed. Like this is nuts.
No, they start listening to the clips. It's the same thing that they did with Kevin Samuels. They just heard the clips, but not the entire clip. It's like, all right, y'all are still on that dumbness. But
it's ironic you mentioned KSTR, because after he passed, he has more than 2 million subscribers now.
Yeah,
and he had just hit 1 million when he passed away. So in death, his legacy lives on.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
Man, I had a 14-year-old tell me he had just heard about Kevin Samuels last month. He's been rocking with him ever since. 14 years old.
Yeah.
And who's to say, like, Charlie Kirk is getting so much attention right now. What's to stop him from getting that same energy?
Yeah. We may not have time to play the video with his wife, but it sounds like they're just going to pick off where, Charlie Kirk left at. So I hope they continue pushing the message.
HBCU is under attack, and people will find a way to justify it.
I don't think we justified it either. I'm pretty sure we didn't.
Man, I don't think I'm certainly not justifying
in America
it.
In the past 10 years. He replied, counting or not counting gang violence. Then pop, he was about to shift the blame for mass shootings on us. And now for some reason, 8 historically black colleges and universities are under threat. Campus lockdowns and all. All this because Charlie got your scapegoat. You really don't even deserve to live in our shadows.
To eulogize means to speak well of. And I wonder what Charlie Kirk would say about Charlie Kirk, because his death stood in stark contrast to the way he lived and the things he believed and the things he espoused. He often talked about black criminality. He often talked about the high crime rates among black people. He spent his life saying that black people basically were inferior and they were superior. Apparently, he's never met a qualified black person that didn't earn it through merit.
So Charlie Kirk has black people on his staff, though, but I guess those black people don't matter. He's worked with plenty of black people as well too. Let's see what Brando says. Yeah. Yeah. The thing with D.L. Hughley, he's gonna. Oh crap, MC, you got to take over. I gotta plug my computer in. Sorry, I'll be right back.
While TR irons all of that stuff out real quick. So DEI for us, right? We were essentially, they took DEI and they associated with the black people. Meanwhile, we weren't even the ones who were primarily benefiting from it. White women benefited from DEI more than we ever did. I don't know why that's never talked about, but for some reason, when DEI is mentioned, it's tied to us. And later on today, we're going to try to break down some of the conversations that Charlie Kirk had that got misconstrued and people didn't. Because what happens is when he makes a point, he'll make his point first and then he'll go back and substantiate it later. But people will hear the point and they're so outraged by it that they don't even want to hear the substantiation piece. So we'll dig in a little bit more with that later. And I see TR is back going now.
Yeah, they're already enraged. And this is the problem with the TikToks, the Instagrams. Like they don't give because those platforms allow only like 30 seconds or up to a minute. I mean, before people would only see like, see, I told you this guy is racist, and it's still like, y'all still don't know who Charlie Kirk, who he was. And he said one thing, but there's a lot of people that say a lot of things, and you don't get bent out of shape over that. You just say, well, Charlie Kirk, Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, whatever, don't care. But I feel like a lot of people, you have to like do work to have Charlie Kirk show up in your radar, show up in your algorithm. And so it's kind of interesting to see D.L. Hughley. I don't know if he's even talked about Charlie Kirk prior to this, prior to what happened to him. But it's just crazy. He's just going down the same playbook that a lot of Democrats have. He's definitely a Democratic shill because no matter what happens with the Democrats, he always tries to just blame everything on blame that the whole white supremacy and Trump this, Trump that. He always goes to that part of the book to explain why black people are where they're at, or these black issues aren't really our issues, or doesn't even talk about gang violence. Like there's a lot of things that he'll skip over and just focus directly on Charlie Kirk or Trump, because he knows that's what gets him clicks.
Yeah, and again, the problem is when we do, it's the boy who cries wolf. If everything is racist and everything is the end of the world for us, it weakens it for people that are really dealing with stuff like this.
Yeah.
I don't care how people feel about me if they think I'm qualified for the job or not, because at the end of the day, I'm going to outwork you and I'm going to show the people that I know what I'm doing. Real racism is Emmett Till and Fred Hampton's grave sites get shot up every year, right? Right around the anniversary on their birthdays, on the anniversaries of their deaths. That's like real stuff right there. This right here is just
hold up.
their feelings.
What?
Yeah. Every year, Emmett Till, the landmark in Mississippi, and Fred Hampton's grave sites get shot up on the anniversaries of their death. Or
by
their
whom?
birth. Nobody seems to know. We can speculate, but nobody knows.
I don't understand why Emmett Till's grave site would get shot up.
That's what I'm saying to you. These types of conversations should be saved for stuff like that. Not somebody thinking that all black people are DEI hires. Look, you got the job, so go in there and prove that you deserve the job. That's all I'm trying to say. 9 times out of 10, these people that's complaining about racism, they're overstating it, and they're weakening it for people that are really dealing with it, which is probably more rare than we want to admit.
Yeah.
All set aside as a DEI. He spent his life talking about empathy and how it was necessary. He spent his life talking about the necessity of people dying for the preservation of an amendment, a piece of paper. He spent his life categorizing people and percentage people and slanting things to present a certain aspect of things. He died forwarding the notion that it's black people who are responsible for gun death. His last words were gang violence, but he wasn't shot. We know it was because we know who it wasn't. First off, Charlie Kirk was not assassinated. He was shot. The congressmen in Minnesota, they were assassinated.
Actually, we're done with him anyways.
I can make the case that this will classify as an assassination, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you why Charlie Kirk taking the L is a huge loss for the Republicans. He was kind of one of the initiators of let's go to these college campuses, let's talk to these young people and have them understand conservatism.
Mhm.
So while the Dems were being condescending towards podcasts and doing campus tours and things like that, people like him and Candace Owens and Officer Tatum, they were going to these campuses, they were letting
Groundwork.
people get off their grievances, and they were responding with logical points. Do you know of any Dems who do that?
None.
I would make the case that why this is so big of a deal for the Republicans is because Charlie Kirk convinced a lot of people to become conservative and vote red. So for them, it's a huge loss. That's the only reason why I would make that case, because I do believe he was politically impactful, and you have to consider stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. He's only saying that just again for the clicks for his crowd. He's always gonna be like this. Him and Plies definitely men that it's just unfortunate because what they tried to convince men, to vote for Kamala Harris, even though that was against the best interests of the Black community. Because Kamala Harris, I mean, essentially, Kamala Harris was not doing anything for the Black Americans. If you need her to do something for you, she was not going to be the person to do it for you unless you were like Asian American. That was it. That's the only community of people, and you know who-ish. But those are only two communities that she cared about from what she had put out prior to the election, or getting back into the the election after Biden had stepped down. So D.L. Hughley, it's just unfortunate because I enjoyed the movies he was in, his comedy stand-ups, but he's gone way too far off the reservation, as well as some other people that we probably revered that we could listen to him and have a conversation, but nowadays it's impossible to do anything like that, and he's being disingenuous. He's just being dishonest about this. Brando, what's interesting is that Candace and Tatum would often do their events at HBCUs. You know what? I did not know that, actually. Did you know that, MC?
I know they've been to Howard and a couple other places, and ironically, TR, Howard and a couple of other HBCUs, if I recall, at least within the last 5 years, they had Black Republican groups up there, and then their numbers were growing in popularity.
Yeah. So if the race warriors have to bring up race, that would have been a great point to highlight too. So yeah, I didn't know that. Usually whatever's an algorithm, but I would definitely love to. I might have to go back to Tatum and Candace. Well, Candace is tripping a little bit, but Officer Tatum, I can definitely. Candace is tripping with the whole Israel thing, so. But I can get on board with Officer Tatum because I've seen his conversation, but I didn't know they both went to HBCU to have those open conversations. So that's some good insight there.
Yeah, I think they started to get blackballed toward the end. Before you transition to your next video, TR, I want to talk about this victim thing real quick. Play that video I dropped in the private chat. It's only a minute 15.
Oh, yeah, Aaron Magruder. All right, let's share.
I really want you guys to understand that time is running out. And a lot of Black people say that, but for real. Part of why the civil rights movement has been so successful, and part of why those who have come after in terms of our leadership have been able to maintain a presence, is that Black people have always had a certain amount of moral currency that we have been using. And let me be the first to tell you, that's used up. White America has been watching us act like fools for a long enough time where any sympathy they may have had to our plight is completely gone. You're approaching a country that, forget hating Black people and not hating Black people, they just don't care. You can be talking about affirmative action, they can be like, I don't care. It literally is of no importance to me. I don't care about slavery. I don't care about segregation. I don't care about you. I don't care how many of you all go to jail. I don't care at all because I'm broke.
Yeah.
You can't be the proud, noble fighter when every single time someone sees a person that looks like you on television, they're acting like a damn fool. How would they know? How would they know you're not a damn fool? They're going to talk to you? Yeah, right.
So the reason why I shared that video, and I'm really hoping y'all peep game on this, nobody's going to care about your struggles more than you. That's number one. And number two, if you're always going around blaming everything on racism and everybody's against you and everything's anti-black, if the person who's not black sitting next to you is just as hungry and striving to have the same goals as you and they have the similar struggles, they're going to be focused on what's in their bubble. They got to figure out where their next check is coming from, how they're going to feed their kids the next week, because most people in this country live check to check and have the exact same struggles.
Mhm.
So I say all that to say, when you get on these soapboxes and you blame everything on racism, you're talking to somebody who more than likely is living check to check and is somewhat broke and their stomach hurts. And guess what? When your stomach hurts, they don't care about nothing except how to satisfy that hunger in their stomach.
Yeah, and a lot of those people, they're supposed to care about you, or they say they care about you. They don't live in those neighborhoods. As soon as they get bussed into your community to protest, they're going back to their communities. They don't want you living near them, but they will support you from afar. So, yeah, I think Aaron Magruder hit it on the nail. Like, hey, I'm broke too, or I mean, at least in my example, I was talking about the elitists. But yeah, a lot of them saying they're broke and they don't got time to feel sorry for you and your plight. So
basically, I'm gonna sum this up in one quick sentence: save yourself, because nobody's going to do it for you. Get up and save yourself.
Yeah. All right. We are going to jump to the Utah mayor having a conversation about the shooter, and it's one of those. It's a very important conversation that I think people need to start paying attention to, though, because people are trying to muddy up the waters of who this person was, just like D.L. Hughley was doing, and they're trying to say this person was, far right, or this person was this person was far right, or this person was just a regular white guy. Like, a lot of people from the extremist left, now that what I've been seeing is just a rise in like just extremism coming from the left. And when it comes to men, they're the ones taking action. They're the one like doing something physical to someone else because they don't like that you support, Trump, or you're MAGA, or you are conservative. They don't like any of that stuff. I've dated women that are just questioning me like, well, why would you be conservative? I'm like, are you telling me as a black man who I should be voting for? No. So when you turn their bullshit back on them, they start shuffling. But when it comes to like having these, real conversation, like, it's not just a white person that did the shooting. There's a couple layers to this, and we're going to find out more details about this person, though. And so I hope that the roommate, when they tell you who the roommate is, I hope this person was not involved, though, because they'll be going to prison just as well, too.
Well, from what I hear, the roommate's been cooperating, TR, so there's probably some type of deal being struck there.
They better not make a deal. They better not make a deal.
Look,
that'd be bad news if they made a deal.
When this shooting first happened, we were talking over text message, and the very first thing I said to you, you know what? Let's rock with the video first. I'm gonna come back to that point in a minute.
Oh yeah. All right.
With some of the many unanswered questions about the investigation, you told the Wall Street Journal that it is, quote, very clear to us and to the investigators that this was a person who was deeply indoctrinated with leftist ideology. Can you elaborate on that and be more specific?
Well, sure.
Real quick, he was pretty quiet about who this person was. He was trying to like toe the line. Look, all I'm going to say is if you're dancing around this and you're a conservative, you're going to get primaried. You're going to lose your seat. So I don't know why he was dancing on this, but he got the fucking phone call prior or to leading up to this interview.
That information comes from the people around him, from his family members and friends. That's how we got that information. Again, there's so much more that we're learning, and so much more that we will learn. There will be official charges will be filed on Tuesday, and there will be much more evidence and information available then. And again, we're interviewing all kinds of people, everyone that knows him, and trying to learn more about what that motive actually was.
Well, some outlets are reporting that the suspect lived with a transgender partner. Is that accurate? And are investigators looking at this part of his life as a possible motivation?
Yes, definitely. And yes, I can confirm that. I know that has been reported, and that the FBI has confirmed that as well, that the roommate was a romantic partner, a male transitioning to female. I can say that that he has been very cooperative. This partner has been incredibly cooperative, had no idea that this was happening, and is working with investigators right now.
And how is that relevant to the investigation when it comes to the motive?
What'd you say?
Are you learning that?
Sure.
Basically, when he talks
about that's what we're trying to figure out right now. Again, it's easy to draw conclusions from that, and so we've got the shell casings, other forensic evidence that is coming in, and trying to piece all of those things together.
You said that the roommate is being.
Real quick, I gotta make a quick note. This is the governor, Utah governor, not the mayor. But it took him so long to try to get us information about this person, and then they're still trying to be, even CNN, that they can't imagine in a million years that they have to have this conversation that's been knocking at their door, damn near knocking it down, that they have a leftist ideology problem. And this person checks a lot of the boxes, especially the whole furry conversation, and then as well as being the messages that were inscribed on the bullets, the whole fascist. That's only coming from leftists, and they don't know what a fascist is, because if that was the case, then you have to consider the shooter a fascist. So it's wild to me that some of these left-leaning networks are barely having the conversation, or they're trying to dance around it, because Dana Bash, she's definitely, she's a hardcore extremist leftist. Well, I shouldn't say extremist. That's she's definitely on the leftist side. But when it comes to like people on CNN and other folks, they do everything. They try to spin this. They try to act like this person, try to like poke holes in it. And they don't do this like when it's related to like someone that's conservative or far right. They don't do anything like this. They're very direct. They're aggressive with their questioning, and they don't let the person even try to dance around it, though. So I'm surprised to see Dana even, being mildly pleasant in this conversation.
One of the reasons why we can't solve problems in this country, TR, is because we don't ask the hard questions. So I'm going to semi-do that right now. One of the first things I text you when this story broke, and I remember this verbatim, I said $100 that this person is trans.
Yeah.
That was one of the first things I sent you, and then I said I'm gonna wait for all the facts to come out first, and they were just gonna take you from there. And the reason why,
real quick,
I remember, go ahead.
Real quick, no one ever thought it was a black person, because Charlie Kirk, he rarely talked about black people. That's the funny part. He rarely talked about black people. Black people weren't his audience for the majority of black people were not his audience. They definitely would have found some good insight from him, but I understand D.L. Hughley is probably a better person to get insight from, apparently. But I didn't think for 1 second it was going to be anyone that's black, someone that's or a woman. I knew it had to at least be someone that was either white, a white male, and they're either trans or trans adjacent. So
it was in Utah though, which a lot of people consider to be the reddest state in the country. So I to be honest with you, I never for a second considered it like the race wasn't a surprise to me at all, because it's Utah.
Mm-hmm.
But I know the most crash outs that I've seen tend to be from people that seem to have some issues identifying what they are inside.
Yeah, from that community.
And as somebody who concealed carries, I'm a huge supporter in mental health advocacy as well. So I think gun owners need to have more mental assessments, and I think something like that would have been helpful here. But here's another thing, TR. That shooter was 200 yards away, 2 football fields. And I didn't think about this till I listened to Tariq Nasheed's radio show. He had somebody who was ex-military call in, and he said, "There's no way this was a one-person job." I'm in the Marines, and I'm quoting him. I'm not actually in the Marines. This guy said he was retired from the Marines, and he said that anybody knows that anybody with a sniper usually has a spotter and usually a team of 1 or 2 other people. So this was a very calculated move, and it was planned and it was strategic. So I'm waiting to see if they can identify any other people that were involved here, because the average person, TR, can't shoot from 200 yards.
Yeah.
So that tells me that this was a very special skill set, somebody who knows how to do terrain, make adjustments for the wind and the light and everything else. So I'm wondering if there's more than one person involved here. That's just me putting on my tinfoil hat a little bit.
Yeah. No, I've been hearing some stuff too, and there are some people around Charlie. Anyone doing any of these visits, you got to make sure that you get everything checked and you got a case around you, because you just don't know who is going to come after you for whatever reason. I know Ben Shapiro said he's gonna continue doing his college visits.
He had to cancel his last one.
Yeah. I don't know what Officer Tatum or Candace. I don't know if Candace even does them anymore. But Officer Tatum, I know he was doing them too. So I'll be curious to see if they're still going to continue the messaging though. But yeah, you cannot take these liberals for granted anymore. A lot of them are dangerous, and they've been radicalized these last several years. And we know what they look like, but a lot of people just are too afraid to have the conversation. And then when it happens, oh yeah, well, I kind of knew something was happening, which in this case, and just like the Trump shooting, someone saw this person walking on top of the roof and they didn't say anything. They already knew that this was already happening, or they knew somebody was up there and nobody said anything. So yeah, this is the amount of people that saw something and didn't say anything actually blows my mind too. I was like, why'd you even post it? Because now you look like an asshole.
And it's weird to me that the less response to this, they want greater gun control, TR, but I'm looking at this like I want my stuff with me even more now, because
and they're the one using guns
standing next to me. Yeah, I can't trust the person next to me to be sane and calm. I don't know how they're gonna react.
Yeah,
I'd rather have the famous quote of most gun owners is, "I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it."
Yeah, well, once some of these politicians, especially the Democrats, once they get rid of their protected security, then we can start having a conversation about other people. But they still want their security guards to have guns.
Yeah, I don't even like going to states where my concealed carry doesn't have reciprocity. So I'm just different though.
Has that individual explained to law enforcement what the mindset of the shooter was and whether or not it is connected to
there's a lot of smoke screens,
his ideology or his situation as transitioning, as you just described?
I'm not sure about that piece right now, Dana.
Okay, so we're not sure if the fact that he was romantically involved, as you say, with his partner who was transitioning is relevant to the motive of the murder based on the investigation.
Look at her trying to disprove that. Like, that has nothing to do with him being trans. Well, if that's the case, then his parents being conservative has nothing to do with him, or has more to do. Well, it's not doesn't mean he's conservative. If they're going to go down that line.
Yeah, they got to keep that same energy if they're going to use that argument.
Yeah, even the way they present the event is presented to us uncensored across the internet, wanting to dominate social media, very high level orchestration. Yeah, I will agree on that too, though, because it was everywhere, and even though you couldn't find it on some of the other platforms, they still found a way to like put some of those details out there. So I don't know. I've always said there's always been a problem with these tech companies. they have not been, they've never been held accountable. Mark Zuckerberg was just at a meeting, the tech conference with Trump, along with Google. They have not been held accountable for the things that they did back in 2020, the amount of censorship that they did, the amount of nuking of accounts that occurred, and mainly occurred from people on the right. So now they're in, I guess they're rubbing elbows with Trump, but I wish Trump would really say, look, I'm glad you guys are donating money and trying to, help build America, make America great again, though. But we got to talk about what you guys did, because those companies, they nuked his account. So I know they gave it back to him eventually, though. But yeah, it's these social media companies, they're also scumbags too, because they're slow to remove any of this negative comment, these negative content. They let it sit out there for 1 million of views. At least on X or / Twitter, at least they can get you a community note, and then that will let people know like why this is cap or not. But yeah, this is mind blowing to me about how the social media companies, how they become lazy, and they're just pushing, and the algorithm is just has a mind of its own with this whole thing with Charlie Kirk.
I was very surprised because I saw the video on Instagram. I mean, Instagram and Facebook never show people.
Yeah, I'm surprised you saw it on there.
Yeah, it was like right smack dab in the middle of Instagram. My wife sent it to me. I thought I could only find it on Reddit, but it was on IG for a long time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Reddit's another one too that they show a lot of crazy stuff too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, sure. Again, all of these things we're trying to figure it out. I know everybody wants to know exactly why and point the finger, and I totally get that. I do too. And so I just want to be careful, as I haven't read all of the interview transcripts, and so we'll have to.
He's doing a lot of dancing.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. We should all be careful. I guess just because that's out there are a lot of people drawing conclusions.
Now, is that the pot on the kettle black?
From you, since you have been involved in the investigation. And on that, the social and gaming platform Discord released a statement saying its servers were in no way involved in Tyler Robinson's alleged plot to assassinate Charlie Kirk. But it did say there were, quote, communications between the suspect's roommate and a friend after the shooting, where the roommate was recounting the contents of a note the suspect had left elsewhere. Can you tell us about that note that the shooter left?
Real quick, that's the other thing too, is that some of these platforms, how come, I don't know why they're not being held accountable for the content that occurs, because when it comes to kids, they're all over it. They'll, they make a billion policies, and they're quick to remove accounts and posts. But when it comes to stuff like this, well, we didn't know that stuff was happening. So you guys don't flag any keywords. You're not monitoring any of these communications. I know it's a lot of work to do, but it's your goddamn platform. And it looks really bad when you have people conspiring to take down political activists on your platform. But yeah, I know he's going to talk a little bit about it though. But Discord, that's another one too. They got to be brought up to Congress to have a conversation about, why didn't you guys know about this?
Yeah, absolutely they do, because we know for a fact that it's been proven in the past that other social media platforms, they kind of stereotype and block people that link to the right. It's been proven before Elon got his hands on Twitter. That was proven multiple times. And
it's all been proven.
Mark Zuckerberg had to go and sit in front of
he admitted it
and have a conversation about censorship. Yeah, he did.
Yeah. What's funny? The only people that I see constantly getting banned is Coach Greg Adams, anyone that may be giving, and he's not red pill, but anyone that does do red pill, like Pearl Davis. I know she just got her monetization back though, but she has the same problem too, whether you like her or love her. There's a level of censorship that automatically occurs with her. Anyone that, KS, had he lived a little bit longer, he probably got censored at some point, even Fresh and Fit. Like, yeah, I get it. Some people may not like their content though, but they are constantly being hounded by the social media algorithms out there. But all of a sudden, we can't get a hold of these people that are conspiring to take down elected officials. No one knows anything. Everyone's just like, hey, what's good? Yeah, we didn't know anything until it happened. All right.
Yeah, I got to throw Minister Farrakhan in there too. He's been banned on all platforms as well.
Yeah. Let's see. Us regular people have to talk in code. Yeah, staying unalive and baby deletion, so our accounts don't get. Yeah, exactly. We have to start the J Crew, small hats.
Yep.
The Civid 19.
Big community.
Yeah, you got to say Yahtzee.
Yeah.
You say any of those words, they're coming after you. But when it comes to like people trying to take down people on the right, yeah, no big deal. You're a bag of shells.
Nothing to see here.
For real.
So I can't yet. Again, those are things that are still being processed for accuracy and verification, and will be included in charging documents.
Okay, so but the note was found, or the content of the note is known by law enforcement?
Again, I can't
Okay.
share any specifics. They're looking at everything right now.
Understood. I just want to go back to my first question about what you told the Wall Street Journal about that this is a person indoctrinated with leftist ideology. And the reason why I think it would be great to be more specific is because your goal of trying to lower the temperature, you said that this is based on investigation and interviews with people who knew him. Did they just use the term leftist ideology, or did they give specifics?
Yeah, there are conversations that were discussed specifically about Charlie Kirk, other conversations about the direction that this was going. And look, my job is just to tell people I don't.
Yeah, he doing a lot of dancing. See, I can't stand people like this. We're done with him.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I get he can't talk about an ongoing investigation, but some of those questions he probably could have provided.
yeah, and
a little bit
he
more
should have.
context.
Yeah, and he should have pushed back, because CNN has been some of the people, like she's trying to distance the conversation away from being leftist ideologies, because if they have to go down the path of talking about leftist ideologies, they have to start addressing it, and they do not want to address it, because that is where, I don't know who's behind it at CNN, but they have, like, it's almost they're in bed with it. And so if they have to start calling out, they're going to look like hypocrites. And you got to start somewhere. These media companies, these news companies, they're part of the problem too. And so I don't know if they're breaking the law, if their law can be, put out there. But they're pushing this, this divisive and terrible rhetoric against conservatives. And, TikTok, especially TikTok, because TikTok is supposed to be banned. They haven't been banned, and they've been contributing. They did help contribute to the election of Donald Trump, but now it seems to be taking down conservatives with the crazy rhetoric that gets spewed on there. And it's like Brando said, yeah, we have to talk in code, or we'll end up getting banned. And all these other companies, they just let it all fly.
And you know what's crazy? The Republicans they're outsmarting the Democrats in a lot of different ways right now. They've pretty much been doing that at least for the last year and a half, at least. They're going to take this, they're going to make him a martyr, and they're going to develop sympathy for their party and inspire more people to vote red next time around.
Mhm.
Just like with the whole crackdown on crimes in all these other cities that we talked about earlier. They're doing the exact same thing. They're making the public perceive the Dems to be weak on crime, and they're saying, okay, you're not going to fix your cities, so we'll fix it for you. So they're outsmarting them every single way. When Trump decided to go the podcast route, as opposed to doing interviews in the news outlets and talk with them for like 15 minutes with scripted questions, they outsmarted them there too. So they're going to take this situation and they're going to use it to outsmart the Dems, just like they've been doing.
Yeah. It's and the other thing with the way Trump is doing things, so the more that they crash out about Trump coming to their city by doing those protests and they turn violent, it creates a situation where he needs to bring in the troops. So, they're playing right into Trump's hands. This is, unfortunately, this is one of those things where, this is what Brando said, they're going to stage an event during Kamala's. Yeah, I bet that's going to happen too. Yeah. Just to jump to that real quick though, they honestly, something like that could happen though. And that's, I don't want to put it out there, but it seems like something like that is going to happen though, because if Kamala is, if there's something that happens to her the people are going to show up. People are going to rally behind her. They're going to automatically say white supremacy. This will be the perfect person to vilify, and they're going to make Kamala Harris into a damn hero. So yeah, I think
Well, Brando
you're
was
right.
saying that, assuming Kamala is going to be the one to challenge again. I think she fades away to the background. I really do.
I don't know. She's throwing Biden under the bus in that book, just from some of the excerpts that I've heard. And
That's a money hustle, though, TR. I'm talking about in terms of running for politics again. I think she's
I know.
good.
No. I'm saying that's what I'm saying is that she's doing the book to distance herself from Biden so she can get back into the elections. Because part of the things that sunk her campaign is that, hey, I wouldn't change anything with Biden. I think he's been a good president.
She said that multiple times. So she had opportunities to distance. I was looking at, okay, like, what are you going to do different from him? Because he was frustrating a lot of people. And she had multiple opportunities to answer that question.
Yeah.
But she never answered hard questions.
Yeah.
She never did.
But I definitely think you're right, Brando, because I've been thinking about this too. Like, not that I want anything like this to happen, though, but considering how politics has escalated to a whole nother level, and we've only been seeing it for the most part impact people on the right. I know they had those 2 elected officials in Minnesota, but that was a left-wing dude that did that. So, and that, that was in the news cycle for maybe a week. But I think with the whole Kamala thing, I think you're right. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we're both wrong, actually. But yeah, I can see something happening.
No, they should put up Kamala and AOC on the next ticket.
Yeah. So AOC, shit. All right. Last topic. We're going to be talking about liberals getting fired for mocking Charlie Kirk. And this is a video courtesy of the Black Conservative Perspective. I recommend giving him a follow. He does amazing work and does a lot of educating on his channel. So now, MC, have you seen people just pretty much crashing out on your timeline?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said, a lot of people who just knew who he was just this week all of a sudden started crashing out because they'll clip the controversial things that he says. Like, case in point, they'll talk about what he said about Ketanji and Black women not being able to process. But he was just talking about those 3 specific
Those women, yeah.
Jasmine Crockett was mentioned as well. He wasn't talking about them collectively. And then there's a video of him saying that Black people, allegedly, he said that Black people present the majority of the violent crimes. That was kind of, that deserves a deeper dive too. But there's just as many videos of him talking with Black men in particular, and they reaching common ground. And a lot of them are like, okay, I kind of understand you a little bit better now that we talked. There's another video going viral where he talks to a single Black mother, and he says, I'm so glad you decided to keep your baby. Your baby is beautiful. God bless you. Like, they don't show those clips. They just show the ones that want to get people stirred up emotionally.
Yeah. No, it's a wild conversation, but let me get this video queued up.
And I think while you're queuing that up, I want to call out, I think South Park pulled the Charlie Kirk episode, by the way.
Yeah. I believe it was just for the cable, but not for streaming.
Right.
So.
You to learn more about the alleged assassin who shot and killed Charlie Kirk. We're also seeing a cascade of people being fired for their comments, appearing to celebrate Kirk's passing, including Office Depot, which fired a worker for refusing to print a memorial poster. Also, the NFL's Carolina Panthers football team said they fired an employee for a social media post appearing to mock Kirk's death. And then Bengals player nonprofit, the Joe Burrow Foundation, also fired an advisory board member who they say made inappropriate remarks in light of recent events. News Nation's Jorge Ventura live with more. And Jorge, we know the list is growing of more workers being fired from their jobs. What's the latest on this?
Yeah, that's right, Natasha. Those firings are racking up, and many of those social media posts either mocking or celebrating the murder of Charlie Kirk are actually being amplified by conservative influencers or activists with large accounts. Some of these accounts, like Libs of TikTok, have over.
I'll say you this much, though. You people are fucking stupid. You people are just dumb. When it comes to like when there's like an event like this, and you are celebrating the death. Like when when it was known, or when it was made public that Biden has, level 4 cancer or whatever it was, I didn't see a lot of conservatives or, people that are Republicans. I didn't see them going out there and saying like, yay, or, rah, rah, rah. No, this was more like, this is terrible what happened to Biden. It may be malpractice. It may have been, maybe they knew about it and they were trying to hide it. There was a compromised president, because this stuff doesn't happen overnight. This takes years for this to happen. And when you have it, because there's going to be some discomfort. I believe it was on his bladder or his prostate or something. But the things that happened to Biden, we know there was something up. There was something wrong with the president at the time. And that's the conversation that most conservatives were having. These people, I've never seen anything like this, MC. Like maybe you see it when the team loses, or the Patriots lose, or whatever it was. I've never seen this happen to a political person. I've never, like when it did happen with the Trump, I saw people losing their jobs. But when it happened to Charlie Kirk, I feel like this was times 10. It was crazy. It was ridiculous. And it's like someone else could have died too, because with the Trump shooting, someone did die. And with this one, someone could have died. And so it's like, so would you have been celebrating if a kid had gotten shot? Someone like innocent bystander that had gotten shot that just happened to be there? Because everyone there it wasn't like they're all, there to support Charlie Kirk. He went there to have different opinions or different debates with people that have different opinions. So what would have happened if somebody would have lost their life? Would you still have been cheering? Would you still think he's a problem for the Black community, even though you just found out about him a day ago? MC, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay,
I
there
can
we
hear
go.
you.
There we go.
Yeah. I was saying this brings out the worst in everybody. They cheered when Kevin Samuels passed away. So
Yeah.
why wouldn't they give him the same kind of energy? Impactful people tend to polarize. But the other side of this is a lot of these corporate people are stupid, TR. If you are going to take a corporate job and you ascend up the corporate ladder, you have to chill out on the comments on social media and the opinions, because you're representing a group of people that is not yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get opinionated on social media anymore for that reason alone. Like, I'll make comments here and there, but I realize that my day job is tied to a lot of different people, and I can't be out here embarrassing folks because I'm not representing myself anymore. I'm representing a whole group of people, and they don't know. They think we're not supposed to have access to everybody's innermost thoughts anyway.
Yeah.
But what I will say is this Charlie Kirk situation brought out the worst, and I'll say on both sides. There was a local story here in my town, TR. There was some people that put their flags at half staff because of this, and that pissed off a lot of military people. I can tell you that right now.
Well, wasn't that the president's direction?
I don't know. You correct me.
I could have sworn it was. I thought the president said half staff.
I thought it was because of the 9/11 remembrance stuff, but I don't know. We could be talking about two different things. But regardless, I don't understand how people can be so emotionally invested in somebody they don't know. I treated Charlie Kirk the same way I treat anybody else. If he says something I agree with, okay, cool, I agree. If he doesn't, I'll push back. But I happen to agree with a lot of the points that he made, particularly about returning the fathers in the home in the Black community.
Mhm.
That needs to be done. That would solve a lot of problems if there's some type of structure with both parents present. That's like common sense 101. But I don't think people want to hear him say it because he ain't Black. But I'm telling you, if he says it and it's true, why does it matter what color he is? It's true.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter it doesn't matter who said it if it's true.
Yeah, no, I agree. I will say this also as well. When it comes to like trying to find common ground with these people, if they're willing enough to like act a fool and celebrate the passing of someone, that is someone that I don't know if there ever could be common ground, because it's one thing with the shooter. There's going to be a lot of dialogue about that shooter, and we'll be sure to cover it. But with the people that had no impact from Charlie Kirk and just recently were made aware of Charlie Kirk, they're risking their jobs. And we're not talking about just a couple people here and there. We're talking about teachers. We're talking about politicians. I saw a person that was a suicide grief counselor celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. I'm like, these people are everywhere in our society. And when they do not like someone, how can we expect them to do their job? How can we expect them to teach the next generation of kids? How can we expect them to operate on people? People were getting mad at Charlie Kirk about the whole pilot thing. But if the person is conservative or they support Charlie Kirk or Donald Trump, you don't even trust those people. So how is
The
Charlie
pilot,
Kirk?
I was
Well,
saying
wait,
this when
wait.
you had to log off real quick. Just let me just tell you.
Yeah.
We were the ones who associated ourselves. DEI was. I said this while you were logged off, TR. White
Mhm.
women benefited from DEI more than any other group. But for some reason, we attached ourselves to it. So of course, if you attach yourself to it, they're automatically going to associate it with you when it comes up.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I forgot where I was going to go, MC.
Oh, my bad. Well, let me just throw this in there real quick too, because another thing that Charlie Kirk said that pissed off a lot of people was he talked about MLK's past before he got into the church and started doing the work that he did.
Mhm.
But did y'all have that same kind of energy when people bought up some of his extramarital stuff in like movies and documentaries like
Oh yeah.
Solo? Like we
I
gotta pick
saw
our
a
battles
picture
with
of
stuff like this.
I saw a picture with him with a woman that was not melanated. So like people see he was I don't know if it was Hawaii or something, but he was showing mad teeth in that picture though. So
Look, man. Temptation comes for us all at some point, and we hopefully you do the right thing. But I think if all of that stuff is true, it makes for a better story with MLK, honestly, because it can show that anybody can turn their life around and do something impactful. But they
yeah.
decided to make it a negative narrative.
Yeah. Yeah. So with these companies, I'm glad these companies are, I don't think these companies are doing it because they don't want, I mean, they're not doing it because of what they said about Charlie Kirk. They don't want the blowback because they saw what happened to Bud Light or Anheuser-Busch. They saw what happened to Cracker Barrel. They see what some of these
American
companies,
Eagle.
yeah, American Eagle. They see what these companies look like when they're if they lean into DEI and some other things get exposed. United Airlines. So I think I was talking about the whole pilot thing. So when Charlie Kirk had the conversation about the black pilots, he's like, I'm worried. I'm gonna tell you right now, and I know I'm probably gonna get some flack for this though too. If that pilot is not just a white guy, I'm used to seeing a white guy. I'm like, all right, let's see what happens here. Because you get a little nervous because
Hold on that one, Tia.
hey,
Can they do the job? That's really all I care.
yeah, you're right. Can they do the job is the conversation though. But the majority of the time I see a white pilot there. And I'm not saying, I mean, most of the crashes have been by white pilots. What I'm saying is that people have these inner thoughts. People have these conversations to themselves. And Charlie Kirk was having a conversation about the whole pilot thing. My point in all this is that these people crashing out, they hold way more positions than just being a pilot, and they never get questioned. You can be mad at Charlie Kirk about the whole pilot conversation though, but you cannot be mad, but then you can't say the same thing about a therapist who crashes out celebrating Charlie Kirk. You're telling me that person is that person is can be a good impartial therapist? You're telling me that person could be a good person for your kids to educate your kids? That person could be a good CEO? How can we have that? How can we be mad about the whole pilot conversation, but we can't be mad about these people that hold these positions that are supposed to be, impartial, and they're supposed to help people, but they're celebrating the death of a guy who died in front of his family. And then there were some people going after the family, going after his wife and kids. And then Brando, hey, see, Brando always coming through for me. I get it, Brando. Same here.
Look, as long as I can do the job, I'm good.
You say that.
The scoring and the metrics should not be adjusted. Everybody should have the same. I like merit-based stuff because I'm going to hit those merits. I know I'm going to hit those merits. And that's how we got to start thinking.
But MC, remember what happened at the MWAA, the Metropolitan Washington the one in DC, the helicopter disaster.
Now break it down for me.
Well, I think you remember it though. It's the female helicopter pilot, and I don't know, it was Apache or something, but they were hovering and they crashed into another airplane that was carrying those figure skaters, the U.S. figure skaters. It was at the beginning of the year. It was right after.
I do remember that. Okay,
yeah,
I remember that.
She didn't have. There were some questions about her flight time, and we still don't know anything about that. We don't know what they were doing. They have the black box, and they still haven't released the information, which they need to be releasing that information. Like, forget the Epstein files. I want to hear about what was this pilot doing in that area, and was this person qualified? Because they've been pretty quiet about. I mean, it took them almost a month to find out who the pilot was, because that's how bad they were trying to hide this. And this is before Trump took office, but they were trying to hide that information. So yeah, people can be upset about, XYZ when it comes to, like, this particular class of people, but you're not having that same energy. And I hope I'm being clear about this. We don't have that same, the liberals do not have that same energy when we see them getting upset about conservatives or Trump supporters. Like, we don't see that anywhere, but it's okay for them to be upset. Well, for, in this case, black people be upset about, hey, you can't be saying these things about black pilots or other dialogue.
I'm gonna trash them all day if they ain't qualified. That's all I'm saying. Did you hit the metrics? Did you go through the certifications and pass all of your exams? That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, as we see, black people are obsessed with race over everything. Everything that occurs is based on them being black. They do not have the demographics flying me any damn where.
Hell, Brando ain't going here today. Oh man!
Look, United Airlines had their own DEI program. They said they were going to hire. They had a goal to hire 50% more women or black and brown people. So it's funny when they say women, because it's like, well, wouldn't most of them be black or brown or whatever? But how can they? I mean, that's where they get in trouble with this whole DEI conversation. Even if it was a woman pilot, I don't think I've ever had a woman pilot. People say they're around. I see them on IG, but I'm seeing, I saw the whole black airline crew. The pilot was black, and the stewardess was black, and everyone was black. But the point is, I don't see a lot of it, and I'm sure those people are out there. But people, if we can't feel worried about that, then you can't tell me that it's okay to have these people in these positions then, because we got to start having those conversations more than about the whole pilot thing. We got to start, like, figuring out who these people are. If I say, this is kind of the litmus test, asking about Charlie Kirk, this is the litmus test right here. Depending on how they act, depending on how they respond, or how they crash out, because it's abundantly clear they can't control themselves when you talk about this stuff.
Yeah. I'm gonna offer a different perspective too, because we talked about this on one side, but the other side, TR, I'm gonna give you an example, is Target. Target eliminated their DEI stuff, and they've been suffering ever since because they've been getting boycotted from the other side. So it's almost like if you take any types of stances as a corporation, you're cooked. Well, and honestly, TR, that's how it should be. Your job is to provide goods and services. I don't care
impartial
politically. Yeah.
4 million followers and are encouraging their audience to contact the employers of those making the posts. And one of those companies facing the online backlash from Kirk supporters is Delta Airlines, the company announcing the suspension and investigation into some of their employees, saying that their social media posts went well beyond healthy, respectful debate, and that they were in stark contrast to the company's policies. We've also seen the NASDAQ firing a junior level employee on Friday as well. The NASDAQ also citing zero tolerance policy towards violence and commentary that condones or celebrates the murder of Charlie Kirk. We are seeing this across the board in different jobs, in sectors.
Now you got to tell your wife you broke.
If you or someone you know have been fired by a company that is caving to white supremacy right now, we have created a website.
Caving to white supremacy. I am going to jump ahead, but also to this website, there's also another website that was created to track people saying reckless things or celebrating really Charlie Kirk's passing. So yeah, I know they're trying to fight for you. They're not going to fight for you, but the other companies, that other website, yeah, this is what essentially what they want to do. This is what they wanted us to do, MC, because I don't like cancel culture. I fucking hate cancel culture. And I'm sure you do too as well too. But when it comes to like stuff like this, they want us to come over and help them and save them from this though, because we're usually conservatives are the first ones over there to say like, hey, you guys are crossing the line. No one wants to do cancel culture. Cancel culture ruined like Hollywood, the entertainment industry, social media, like all stuff like that. And we're not going to get in the way of stopping that. To me, it's pretty tasteless. And you have people just flat out with their whole government ID and company name on their profile, just really saying out of pocket, reckless stuff. I can't think of anyone that that I dislike that much. Even maybe Soros. I think Soros is the worst, one of the worst people out there, and he's been trying to buy this election so he can push his his communist agenda. But
did he just buy a whole bunch of radio stations last year or 2 years ago? Yeah.
Yep. That went through the FCC, I think they or whoever was that greenlit it. But with Soros, if he passed, I'm not gonna get on my. I'm so glad this guy is there. I don't care. I don't give people energy that I don't care. And no one's asking people to give sympathy or empathy even to Charlie Kirk. No one's asking you to do any of that stuff. I don't expect anyone to do any of that stuff because it's your social media platform. So you can theoretically say whatever you want, but that doesn't mean your freedom of consequences though. And we've seen plenty of people, like if a guy says something, some gooner shit, some thirsty stuff, generally he's going to get roasted. Or I got one better. When a guy tries to jump in a woman's DMs, that motherfucker, and she leaks the DMs, he's getting flagged everywhere. So I don't even understand why they thought that was going to be okay. And they know, sliding in DMs is not okay because everyone's going to find out about it. They're going to make fun of you. They might even tell your wife. They might tell your job. I don't know who they're going to stop or where it stops in that conversation. But for them to think that they were not going to lose their job over this is mind blowing to me.
And to reiterate what you said earlier, I do hate cancel culture, and I hate censorship too. Anybody, even if it's somebody who doesn't like me because of the color of my skin, I say let them talk because more than likely they got no power or influence, and they're going to cook themselves and isolate themselves from society. I want to know who my enemies are. I want them to identify themselves to me. All y'all doing by canceling people and making them be quiet is you just making them hide in the shadows, and they're going to keep doing the same thing.
Yep, exactly.
They'll be up in about 24 hours.
Actually, I was going to jump ahead. Go to the next part. Whoops.
Of Charlie Kirk, and many of them are now losing.
Yeah, just dancing.
Jobs. Many of the people you've seen cheering on.
Actually, you know what, MC? This one is a bit odd because when I saw this, people were saying that this guy was cheering, and it is at the where it occurred, the shooting. But the problem with this still image is that he was saying that, because I saw the whole video, he was saying, fight America, Trump, 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 and stuff like that. Kind of what happened during the shooting back in Butler, PA, with Trump. But unfortunately for this guy, he got wrapped up in it because it looks like he's celebrating, and he really wasn't celebrating the shooting. I question why he did this, why he thought this was a good thing, because he just heard someone. Well, he was there, so he know there was a shot. I just don't understand why he jumped up to why he thought that was the best time to do something like this. But I'm sure he had to explain to his bosses, hey, I'm not celebrating the shooting. I was just trying to motivate people to fight for America. But it's like, I don't know. This is definitely not the time. This wasn't, he should not have done it, is my opinion. But
yeah, it's cloud chasing either way, no matter what the reason is.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. That's what I thought he was doing. Yep.
The passing of Charlie Kirk started with this man who just moments after Charlie Kirk was struck right in front of him was cheering on video that Charlie
and I know, only reason I know because I saw the video.
Who was a nurse going on TikTok celebrating the passing of Charlie Kirk, and now people have found out where she works and are talking to her employers. This man who wrote this entire statement here is actually in the military, and people have already alerted Pete Hegseth, who is essentially
Again, MC, if you're in the military, if you hold any type of government position, I saw people that work for nonprofits You are a nonprofit. You're supposed to be helping people, and you're celebrating the shooting. These people are demonic. These people are monsters. I'm supposed to be able to vote. MC, these are the people, if I'm ever in the court, these are the jury pool I have to pick from. These are the people deciding my life.
These are also the same people supporting countries that want to see America fall. So
Yeah, exactly.
I got to take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah. So when people say they want to repeal the 19th Amendment, for what? You still got all these other crazy people you got to deal with. That repealing the 19th Amendment won't do anything.
This man's boss and will probably be trying to do something about it. You have another woman who is a 2nd and 3rd grade teacher's aide who was posting about
Teacher's
that she
aide.
wished she would have heard of another obituary talking about Donald Trump, but instead she would settle for Charlie Kirk. And this man, probably the most prominent person to be fired after their comments on Charlie Kirk, was Matthew Dowd, who was actually working at MSNBC and went on air saying some absolutely terrible things. But more and more of these videos are coming out, and more of these people are going to be losing their jobs.
It's like somebody actually posted this.
A Barrington teacher tonight put on paid leave after parents say the teacher posted inappropriate comments on social media about the shooting of conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
No remorse, no nothing. It was more so, oh, he got what was coming for him.
Parents say the post in question was a TikTok video. It's since been taken.
Why teachers stay off of TikTok? I don't think we got to that video where that woman was like pretty much dancing and wearing all the suggestive clothes. Stay off of TikTok. They got to kick these teachers off of TikTok. And I know it's just teachers getting in trouble. They should be they should not be a list of teachers getting fired. This is probably at the worst. I would expect all the people in those nonprofit agencies, fine, you guys are stupid, but not teachers. You're supposed to be there for the kids, but now you're trying to clout chase and you're getting fired.
Yeah, and according to the Pew Research Center, there's about 65% of teachers leave left, so to be expected.
Yeah, definitely true.
Down, but parents we spoke with still saw it.
It was a post of a male teacher who is saying that the killing was justifiable.
Barrington Superintendent Chris Ashley first announced the school's actions to parents over email before addressing the issue again at tonight's school committee meeting.
We will be conducting an outside investigation into this. We can't discuss the details.
Any acts of political violence cannot be tolerated.
Parents tell us the teacher in the alleged video works in the high school and is involved in the union. Multiple parents spoke out during public comment tonight.
Funny how free speech only matters when it's
evil. Brady, Charlie Kirk's assassination. Take a look.
This example of MAGA's double standard on free speech is almost unbelievable. You have to see this with your own eyes. So on August 15th of this year, Olivia says hate speech is still free speech. Cry about it. Then one day ago, she says, I feel like a Karen with the amount of calls I've made to employers. Anyway, back at it again today. She then went on Newsmax and said, I've contacted over 706 employers and delegated hundreds of other submissions to people who offered to help. I will not stand for the vile, hateful comments made about Charlie Kirk and his wife. But I'm confused because just 1 month ago, she was defending hateful comments towards other people. What changed? It's very clear the MAGA crowd only cares about free speech when they agree with it.
The Republicans have just made a database of 20 to 30,000 people
dude.
who made fun of what
Yeah.
happened to Charlie Kirk.
And again, and pretty much, I think we're done with that video. I get it. I understand it. I don't like cancel culture. I don't like people going after people's jobs. But you guys, you've got to understand this political climate that we're in. And no one, this is the thing that when Black people, when we had the conversation earlier about Black people getting involved, you had no reason to get involved. People, you had 1 or 2 clips about Charlie Kirk. Really, you don't have anything. You got more clips from fucking Joe Biden than you do than from Charlie Kirk about disrespecting Black people. If you think if you think Charlie Kirk was disrespecting Black people like that, you have more clips from Biden doing stuff like that then. But I don't see people getting all wrapped up in arms on stuff like that. So at the end of the day, a lot of these people, they don't realize, when you do stuff like this, it's going to come back to haunt you. We try to be very mindful of the conversation that we have on here. I know I probably toe that line or tiptoe on that line though. But at the end of the day, like we're not trying to like celebrate the death of someone who has passed, whether I like them or not. I'm not gonna if I don't like them, I'm not gonna post about them. I mean, I barely post on my personal social media page. Usually it's just about Eagles stuff. Like that's it. So for a lot of these people, I hope this is you knew this was happening back in when it happened last year with Trump. Now it's happened again. If it happens again down the road, I hope you guys learned your lesson though, because this is not the time or the place. And then if any conservative or Republican is going out doing stuff like this too, they're going to get the same smoke. So it's not like, if a Republican did it, the reason they can't go after Republicans because they're not doing it. That's the issue.
They're all smart enough. Look, if you hate somebody this much when you're dancing and celebrating their death, there's usually some type of like you cared about this person at one point or another. Because if I'm not rocking with you, it's just like you said to you. I feel nothing here. Like I feel bad for his wife and his kids.
Yeah.
I was kind of neutral on him. Like I said, he said a lot of stuff I agreed with, but I can't think of one person that I hate that much that I would actually dance and celebrate if they passed away. Like,
yeah,
I don't know where that comes from. I just
setting up the camera, putting on a song, and just doing the what was it, that country side step, 2-step thing. Boots on the ground. I don't know. These people is wild.
They can have it all, man. They can have it all.
Definitely. All right. That is going to wrap up the episode. Final words, MC?
Nope. Tampa Bay play tomorrow. Let's get it.
Eagles played today and won. So it was a hard fought win, but still a win is a win. Push. All right. See you, everyone.
Peace.